Morning, Henning.
Morning, you.
How do you like that? That's a front ranker's voice. Morning, Hugh. Hoe gaan het met jou? Yeah, great to have you on our show. Right, Henning van Aswegen. Now, I've got to bring call back to past. Henning van Aswegen played in the front row for Western Province as a loose head prop. We talked to Hempies du Toit last week. And Henning van Aswegen, 2 test matches for South Africa and 10 matches in all. 1981 New Zealand, the first test. Remember the Batuga Tour, and also against South America as a replacement. That's Henning van Aswegen back in 1981, 1982. Do you know that, Henning? You won't believe it. I was with the boys on the weekend. We went down to Riversdale to do a game at Oakdale Luntbo. And we were all telling sporting stories, and I was with AJ Fenter and Gerry Skeepers and a couple of our super sport guys, and I said, do you guys remember Vince van der Bijl?
Yeah.
VA, they looked at me as if I'd lost my marbles. I said to AJ Fenter, surely you've heard of Vince van der Bijl. He said, ain't got a clue. Can you believe it?
People forget easily.
So, Henning, we're doing well. That's why we're doing Where Are They Now? You know, we also get a lot of people who listen to our program who are more informed and slightly more senior than some of the lighties. So they do remember you. Where are you now, Henning?
Usually I'm farming in the... you can say on the border of Northern Cape and Northwest Province. I'm actually, the nearest biggest town to me is Kimberley. I'm about 80, 90 kilometers north of Kimberley. I'm farming cattle, and then I've got irrigation farms at the Farlarts Irrigation Valley, where I'm farming with pecan nuts. The pecan trees.
Okay, that's amazing, because weren't you at one stage in the liquor industry?
No. That's when I was down in the Cape. My father and then my late father, they were involved in the liquor trade, stemming out of from their cattle farming. They started diverging into the liquor trade. But I was never myself in the liquor trade myself. I was always in the meat business, and then I was for 30 years in a food company. And then I got fed up for the director stories and politics in big corporate business, and I decided to go farming.
Okay, well, I mean, that's quite a thing. Do you ever get to Kimberley to watch games, or do you?
I normally, as they say, these guys is a lazy couch criticizer. I sit in the living room and watch the TV, and then when I like the game, I look at it, and when I don't like it, I switch it off. So
you sound a little bit like what Hempies. Now, Hempies was your old Furemat, huh?
Yeah. We played, what was it, 83 or 84 games together for Western Province.
That's one hell of a lot. Who was your hooker at that stage?
Yeah, it started with Robert Cockrell and then Sean Povey.
Okay. And was Nick Mallett in that side? He was in that side for a while.
Nick played for us played with us in, what was it, 81, somewhere around there, yeah.
Okay.
He played with us, yeah.
And your locks were Henny Becker, and...
Henny, and then it was Duff de Villiers, and later Andre Markgraaf, and then it was Groot Skalkberger.
Yes, I saw Groot Skalk recently.
Yeah.
They had a wine show up in Joburg.
Yeah.
And you know, Groot Skalk and I toured New Zealand in 1994, and we also toured South America together, and we became big pals. And Groot Skalk and I.
he's become so big now, he doesn't need a lock partner. He can push on his own.
And also, I mean, in that side, do we call him back to pass? Rob Lowe
Yeah, Rob
was one of
Lowe
the stars of that side.
And then Tim Stoffberg in the heydays when we won the Currie Cup 5 years in a row was Tiens on the other side and Nick as eighth man.
One hell of a bloody pack of forwards, hey?
Yeah.
It was one hell of a pack of forwards. And then you had... Was those the days? Was Devon before Karel became the captain? Was Devon the captain in those years?
Devon was the captain, yeah.
And then from memory, we had Johan Durr as the fly half, Michael Duplessis.
And you had there was a couple of other.
Fafa Knutzer.
Let's see who
well, and Carla Scores at fullback.
Carla Scores at fullback and Karel on the one wing.
Neil Berger.
And Neil Berger on the other wing.
Maz, that's not a bad memory for an old man, eh?
Yeah.
I'm talking about myself, Henning. Carla Scores, did you play in that game? We were talking about it last week when Carla Scores ran onto Loftus with white boots on.
Oh, yes. We had just a thing on Saturday when we looked at the final. Andre Margraaf, he was here because he's not farming far from me. So he came over and we watched the game, and he was a couple of other chaps. And after the game, we started talking about the olden days. And I said to him, "Do you remember the day at Loftus when Kala ran out with the white pair of Toks, the Adidas white Toks?" Because I remember Cecil Moss came to me and Henny Becker and he said, "Listen, there's something I've got to tell you." I said, What is it? He said, "Kala's going to take out his Tok bag, a pair of white Toks. But you mustn't say anything because, I mean, it's just before the game. You're going to upset him. Don't say anything. Don't make any remarks or whatever." So we kept quiet, and I just looked at it, and all right, on we went. And then the first penalty he had, he kicked the ball and he fell on his ass. So that was the white Toks.
I remember that when he fell on his backside, the crowd went absolutely berserk. Yeah, no. Now, they wear one orange boot and one bright blue boot. I mean, it's unreal.
Color match story.
Yeah, I know. I remember we had a coach at Wanderers, Buddy Swart. He said, You Oaks just come with your dancing pumps. Yeah, Willem Dupree, thanks for listening. Viv, they both skalks were groot, but groot skalk, we talk about groot skalk because it's more of in terms of age.
Yeah.
But groot skalk is groot as klein skalk. But they, as you say, they're both big guys. And Leon, I know you were talking about a rough estimate, but sorry, Henning, just to fill you in, I was talking to Jonathan Kaplan earlier, and we were talking about the fact that we thought that we need to be more than one-dimensional in the way we play rugby.
Yeah, it's actually sad, I watched some of the school rugby as well, and I watched the derby against Paul Boys Eye and Gymnasium on Saturday.
Yeah.
You start seeing the same patterns going through to the schools as well.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's a tragedy. I mean, school rugby should be open, running rugby with a little bit of, variety in the game at the back, but the same rugby goes down. And our senior rugby with our Super 14 teams, and it's so predictable. It's actually becoming boring, and I believe that the people are starting to get fed up with the style of rugby that we play. It's not exciting anymore.
Yeah, you see people out there, listen to Henning van Aswegen. and listen to Hempy's du Toit. It's starting to become boring. And, I say for 25 years or even longer, I've been on TV, been one of the Springboks' greatest cheerleaders, I think. And you get to a point where you say, you got to say, guys, catch a wake up. Surely they realize that we can't keep playing this similar type of rugby. I was just talking about it, Henning, earlier. I did the Landbou School derby on Saturday, Oakdale against Marlow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the Marlow forwards, in fact, Marlow got more of the possession. They had two really good loose forwards, but both of them did not pass the ball once in the game. And as a result, they lost the game. And they lost the game quite heavily, because whenever Oakdale got the ball, they moved the ball through a couple of hands and outscored Marlow. So, it was a very much a case of those boys getting the ball and storm net vorentoe.
Yeah, that's, that I know it's got in today's game with the defense lines and everything like that, the guys are trying to put up phases as much as possible to pull in the players and then to play. But I mean, the opposite side, they sum you up and they said, all right, this is the game they play. We don't commit to the breakdowns. We just spread out over the field and line up for defense. So it becomes one crash tackle after the other crash tackle. Now, I don't know. They must do something. Or someone must come with a new idea of playing this game.
Well, the other thing is, let's face it, you get the Crusaders and the Waratahs who turn out a final that I think was exceptional rugby. I didn't see the whole game. But, they're doing loop movements and bringing blindside wings in and that type of thing. And they are running the ball. So there are areas for us to. It just looks like to me that, and you mentioned it, Henning, a schoolboy rugby, that our boys are petrified to lose.
Yeah, that's right. The winning aspect has become so important that no one's prepared to take a chance just to run with the ball and let the ball do the work and play some exciting rugby. But it's a bad sign.
Yeah, sure. We rely on our listeners and we rely on the tweets we get on Monday morning. I've got a lovely one here from a regular, our mate Viv Pike, who says, Henning has that kind of voice that doesn't need to murr anybody. His voice will hurt you enough. Lovely stuff. You must be full value at the sing-song around the campfire. Yeah. Thank you, Viv, for that observation. It's nice to know that you're listening, and you're listening to one of the great Western Province. As you heard earlier, 80-odd games in the front row with the other great tight head, Hempy's du Toit. Henning van Aswegen, Springbok Voorrijman, who is now farming up in the Northern Cape area. I was in Kuruman last week with Dani Gerber.
Oh.
Dani Gerber and Kali Knutsa. A lot of people don't remember that Kali Knutsa actually played in a Currie Cup final, 1974.
That's right.
He always likes to tell me how he straight-armed the late Tommy Simons.
Oh, Tommy.
Yeah, no question about it. He doesn't vra vir skoning of iets. He just says, I straight-armed Tommy Simons.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. So, Kali, we were in Kuruman. I had a wonderful mana aunt there and for raising funds for the local Kuruman Law School. It was great.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I ended up actually phoning my wife, and halfway through the conversation, I started speaking Afrikaans to her. And there was a stilte, and she said, you do realize you're speaking Afrikaans to me. So we had a great time. Which was your best Currie Cup final?
My best Currie Cup final?
Yeah.
I think it was, when we started the 5 in a row, the first one in 82.
Yeah.
Against Northern Transvaal.
Was that in Pretoria?
Let me just
Got a funny feeling. Yeah, no, I'm calling back the past.
Yeah.
No, 1982. Okay. I actually jotted down last week in 1980. Oh,
We lost against
you lost a
Northern.
big time against Northern, 39-9.
Yeah.
Then 1983 at Loftus, you won 9-3.
Oh, yeah, it was 82 was at Newlands. 83 was at Loftus, yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I remember that day. It was, I think, the 3rd of October. It was like 36 or 35 degrees at Loftus that day. It was at 9-6 or 9-3, 9-6.
9-3.
Yeah, 9-3. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
At Loftus, no. I mean, in those days, it was amazing. I mean, the Western, it was right in the middle of isolation years, and the Western Province and Northern Transvaal were the main contenders for the Currie Cup final.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, you younger listeners, I mean, there was a time, and I know there's great rivalry now, but I remember people getting so wound up. I mean, both from the Western Cape and from Northern Transvaal, particularly because they seem to run the Currie Cup or play the Currie Cup final in those years more often than anybody. People getting really heated about, you know, where their loyalties lie. And ek haat Noord-Transvaal and ek haat VP. And the rivalry was more intense because of our isolation. I think they were groot jare daai.
As they say, those days we played for the tie and the blazer. That was the story.
Yeah, and I see Viv Parks just tweeted me. We're talking about it's not that serious. He said, I went to Dale College. That's the same school that the great H.O. de Villiers was head boy of. And Mike Jennings went. He and his dad both played for South Africa.
Yeah.
A few years ago, when I was still at Dale, the rugby players used to get caned if they lost a big game. Well, I can tell you, Viv, I was in the Corsace at school, and I can remember getting caned by a house prefect once every night for about 2 weeks for talking in prep or not having a cold shower. Or, I mean, they caned us for nothing. You know, these days you could take a hat up for assault for caning somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the days of corporal punishment. Were amazing. So you were. I mean, a lot of those guys, Henning, were the Marties, weren't they? A lot of those guys in that Western Province side.
Yeah, I think there was 12. Yeah, 11 or 12. 12, I think, was from Marties.
12 of the province side. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually a privilege those days to play in a pack, as you mentioned just now. Be playing in such a pack because, I mean, we, as they say today, in the terms of the rugby today, they talk of game plans and stuff like that. We knew what we wanted to do, and we didn't actually worry who our opponents was. We knew if that was the call, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not if it's going to happen or if it will happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, so, wonderful. Yeah. And I can just tell you the tweets are coming in thick and fast. Leon Petzer says, really enjoy hearing from the old greats of the game. Excellent insert, because I've got Henning van Aswegen with me, one of those great Western Province front rankers. Kenneth Stewart also. I would love to sit around a campfire with Clippies and Coke with that voice. Oh, yeah. I think you better phone SuperSport and tell him jy's beskikbaar om 'n bietjie kommentaar te lewer. Yeah, great stuff. Now, you know, Hempy's a toy from those great years of Newlands where they put up the dates of the number of times they've won the Currie Cup, and rugby unions were run by those groot besigheidsmanne, Jan Pickard and Louis Late. Come to mind immediately. Multi-millionaires in their own right, both and lock forwards who played the game at the highest level and ran their provinces with an iron fist. And days when recall that day when Neil Berger ran past about 6 Northern Transvaal guys.
That's right. That was, I think, at Newlands.
Yeah, and he had a lot of work to do, and he was a big wing, Neil Berger, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He wasn't that long. He was actually a shortish guy, but he had a pair of legs on him. Yeah. I mean, if you tackle him between the knee and the hip, you can be sure you're going to be bumped off. You're not going to tackle him there.
And he did, didn't he? I mean, he ran, in my memory, he ran past about 4 or 5, 6 North Transvaal defenders. Right. Yeah, amazing. Who was the toughest front ranker you ever played against?
As a loosehead, I mean, if they talk about front rankers, you will always hear that the strongest guy they're all tight heads. They all talk about the strongest is a tight head, but I say, yeah, because they've got 2 shoulders which they scrum with. A loosehead's only got 1. So you've got to work twice as hard as a tight head.
Yeah.
But I remember in my younger days when I started playing for Free State, when I was at varsity there, I played. He just became Springbok in the '76 All Black Tour. Was Johan Strauss.
Yeah.
He was physically very strong.
Potty Strauss.
Potty, yeah.
Johan Potty Strauss. I saw him about 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, Richard phoned me. I think the day when they were with Kevin at the President's Suite or whatever,
That's
looking
right.
at the game.
Yeah.
He phoned me and they said Potty was there, and I don't know. He mentioned a couple of names of the old guys that was attended the game there with Kevin.
Yeah, right.
But technically, the most technically correct scrummer or clever scrummer I ever scrummed against was Graham Price from Wales.
Yeah.
He was technically very good.
Was that on the 1980 tour?
No, that was a World 15 playing against Wales with the opening of the old new, that was called then the new Cardiff Arms Park, but it was just a main stand and stuff that was rebuilt, and that was the opening ceremony of that stadium.
Okay.
They had a World 15 playing against Wales.
Yeah.
And then I played against him.
Did you and did Nas and Donnie play in that side?
No, Rob. It was me, Rob, and four guys.
Yeah, Carl might have been a
Carl,
contender.
I think Carl was there, and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Yeah, sure. So there we have it. Potty Strauss, whose son played.
He was strong. He had a chest like a boat's keel, and it was a round chest. If you slip under that, you know you're gone. And that was the days when
you could take a front ranker down.
And you backed down and you charged and you scrummed. And if you caught wrongly, you know you're gone, because you can still pull down and push up. And because these days they say up a recitation and then they start scrumming. I would fall asleep before they start scrumming.
Okay, Daniel, could you ask Henning who the next Springbok loosehead will be after the Beast? He's given you a couple of ideas. Thomas du Toit, who I think was very impressive for the Sharks. He's only 19 years old. And Stephen Kutzoff.
Yeah, I would, in my opinion, this Thomas du Toit guy, or Lighty as he still is, I mean, as you said, he's only 19 years old. And the way he played for Natal, and they threw him into the deep water with a semi-final, against the Crusaders. The way he played and scrummed, actually not played because he's still a youngster. He won't come into the game on that level that fast. But the way he scrummed, he will, if they manage him correctly, he will still play big rugby for South Africa.
Well, there you go, Daniel. That's the opinion of a great front row from South Africa, Henning van Aswegen. Henning, Ach, baie dankie, and thanks a hell of a lot for
Yes,
giving
nice
up your
talking.
time and talking to me, and it's great to talk to you again. I remember good times that we had, and I remember even way back then commentating games that you and that great pack of forwards played in for the Western Province. So Henning van Aswegen, where are they now? Henning farming up in the Northern Cape, and all the very best, Henning, and thanks for talking to us. It's been great.
Thank you. That's nice.
Take care, hey. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Visual radio.
Radio like you've never seen it before.
Balls.co.za